Hello everyone. As we are approaching the end of 2024 and getting nearer to the full implementation of E-Invoice, I would like to provide a quick update based on the latest development as of December 2024. Let's have a quick recap. Back in 2023, the following timeline is given. If we follow the timeline, those companies that has turnover more than 100 million should be issuing E-Invoice since August 2024. And by July 2025, the whole nation will be fully implemented. However, in July 2024, our government has announced 6 months interim relaxation period. All businesses still fall under the same implementation timeline with an additional 6 months interim as follows. If you are supposed to start E-Invoice in January 2025, you have a relaxation period until 30th June 2025. On top of that, micro SME with turnover of less than 150,000 are now under the exemption from implementation. Okay, back to the relaxation period. What does this mean? Let's say, if you are already in the implementation timeline, but within the relaxation period, you still need to implement E-Invoice. But you don't have to issue individual full E-Invoice to each customer. Company only need to issue a consolidated E-Invoice on a monthly basis, which is a summary of all your revenue in one E-Invoice. You do not need to itemize every E-Invoice. And if a customer requests for a full individual E-Invoice, you need not furnish to them. No action to be taken by IRB during this period as long as the consolidated E-Invoice is submitted. Okay, now that we are approaching January 2025, most likely you are still in the relaxation period. However, note that some of your large suppliers could be moving into full implementation phase. One thing to remember, E-Invoice is not only to support your revenue, but it is also to support your business expense, as IRB can now validate and check them inside their portal once E-Invoice is fully implemented. Hence, if your supplier has already in the full implementation phase, please do request them to issue you an E-Invoice even though you are still in relaxation phase. This is to avoid any potential issues with the recognition of your business expense in the future. Let's look at the timeline again. So, the taxpayer with annual turnover of more than 100 million will reach the end of relaxation period on 31st January 2025. Taxpayer with annual turnover of more than 25 million will reach the end of the relaxation period on 30th June 2025. So, you probably have in the back of your mind which of your suppliers are reaching their end of relaxation period and you need to start requesting for your E-Invoice. What are the other things to take note during the interim period? Always request for E-Invoice for all your major business expense and all your personal expense that you will claim in your personal tax deduction. If your supplier is E-Invoice ready, they will have to furnish you upon request. Don't worry, the liability is on the supplier to comply. And what important as a buyer is to make the request. If they are still within the relaxation period and unable to issue you the E-Invoice, they will inform you that they will not be able to do so. However, there are few major expenses that you will always have to make sure you make the request. First is the purchase of motor vehicle. Second, flight tickets. Constructions and renovation materials. and medical expense. If you are not sure whether your supplier is E-Invoice ready, just request. If they are not ready, they will inform you so. Lastly, going forward, there are some information that we may need to carry with us, like our identity card. This is because every time when we request for E-Invoice, we will need to furnish certain information. I highly suggest that you compile those information on a small piece of card and keep it handy when needed. For company, you will need to furnish your company name, company registration number, SST registration number if you have them, email address, phone number, billing address, and your MSIC code. And for personnel, most of the information should be in your My Card. Okay, this is all the updates for today. I intend to keep this short and brief. I wish everyone a very good year ahead.